Welcome back. Donald Trump is making new tariff threats, this time aimed at Japan. The US president claims the world's fourth largest economy won't buy America's rice as Japan considers its next move. The EU is sending its top trade chief to Washington for last-ditch talks. It comes just days before Trump's 50% blanket tariff on European goods is due to take effect. Well, CNN's Stewart has a lot to cover. She joins us now live, a lot in not much time really, but let's stick to Japan for now. So America's president certainly saying that Japan won't buy American rice. That is not quite true, right?
This was quite an interesting pivot because over the weekend, the focus of the president's ire was more about Japan's cars and the fact that Japan doesn't buy enough cars from the US. And he hinted that the 25% tariff currently on cars could stay for Japan if they don't reach a deal. Today, of course, it seems to be all about rice. In a Truth Social post from President Trump, he says he has great respect for Japan, but they won't take our rice. And yet they have a massive rice shortage. In other words, we'll just be sending them a letter. And this has been the big threat in the last few days, that he will be sending out letters to countries he cannot reach a trade deal with, and that I think the insinuation here being that the tariffs will come back or they could be even worse. It's not a good sign. No one wants to receive a letter from President Trump on this. Now, you're right, it's not actually true. Japan bought nearly $300 million worth of American rice just last year. It's possible rice is being used by Japan as leverage in all of this, but we've not really had any information on that. I suspect it's more likely that the issue of rice is one of those non-tariff barriers that the president likes to talk about. In the last US administration under Joe Biden, they did find in a report that Japan has a very regulated and quite non-transparent system when it comes to importing rice. Perhaps it is all about that. It's really hard to piece together exactly why rice is the focus right now. Japan is really keen to strike a deal with the US. The car industry is a massive part of Japan's economy. It accounts, I think, for 10% of GDP, and the US is its biggest market by a long way. It has a lot to lose here. Before the pause on the so-called Liberation Day tariffs, the overall tariff for all Japanese goods going into the US was 24%. That has been dropped down to 10% while trade talks continue. The 25% on cars and steel and aluminium, that still exists. And that is very painful for the Japanese economy. So they'll be keen to strike a deal. They'll be listening to all this on rice. Whether they can reach a deal by the 9th of July is anyone's guess. They don't have much time left. And this is the issue, Lynda, not just for Japan, but as you said, the EU, for a number of countries, really trying very hard at this stage to create some sort of deal before the 9th of July, because that deadline is looming. With the EU, we're expecting the EU Trade Commissioner to arrive in DC tomorrow to meet his counterparts. There have already been so many meetings, so many phone calls, and it's really unclear how close any of these nations are. For investors, they will be, I suspect, beginning to worry that the trade deals may not happen. And I think everyone's wondering whether there will be an extension on that deadline.
Yeah, 8 days, just 8 days to that tariff deadline approaches. We shall see if there's a flurry of deals. Good to see you, Stewart. Thanks so much.